For a high-profile figure, a simple walk through a public space is a heavy lift for security teams. Every passing stranger, every blind spot, and every sudden movement carries a hidden variable. When 18-year-old Barron Trump stepped onto a New York college campus this fall to start his freshman year, he brought a massive security apparatus. Attempting a normal teenage milestone requires an extraordinary protective footprint. His safety relies on this level of intervention because his father, former President Donald Trump, occupies a polarizing space in the global spotlight. That degree of fame and political gravity acts as a magnet for extreme, obsessive attention. Psychologists call this phenomenon pathological fixation. It is an uncompromising preoccupation that drives a person to relentlessly pursue a specific target, often fueled by delusional beliefs or deep-seated grievances. This danger materialized clearly in March 2024, when a 29-year-old Chicago man named Michael Kovco sent a message directly to the White House website. He explicitly threatened to ambush the former president and decapitate Barron with a serrated knife. A message like that triggers an immediate, high-stakes crisis. Law enforcement has hours, sometimes minutes, to make a decision. Is it a harmless internet troll, someone suffering a severe psychiatric break, or an assassin finalizing a plan? To prepare for that scenario, Secret Service agents undergo grueling training at a sprawling facility in Beltsville, Maryland. They run through simulated physical assaults, high-speed driving maneuvers, and advanced weapons tactics. The agency maintains specialized units known as counter-assault teams. These tactical groups have a single objective: neutralize any direct combat threat with physical force. The personnel drawn to this assignment often come from the battlefield. Roughly 20% of the agency's staff are military veterans, injecting frontline combat experience straight into domestic protective details. The logistics required to support these teams are staggering. Securing a routine public appearance often means loading specialized armored vehicles and communication arrays onto military cargo planes to fly them across the globe. But here is the reality of protective operations. If these heavily armed teams actually have to draw their weapons, the system has already failed. Physical intervention is the last line of defense, deployed only when intelligence networks miss the threat. To stop attackers before they ever reach the perimeter, the Secret Service relies on the exceptional case study. It is a rigorous piece of behavioral research that changed the protocols for analyzing targeted violence. This scatterplot reveals a core paradox, an inverse relationship between loud threats and actual attacks. High-threat, low-action individuals are howlers who issue terrifying communications but rarely act. Conversely, low-threat, high-action actors are hunters, silent, methodical, and moving down a calculated pathway to violence. This dynamic dictates how protective details prioritize their targets. It forces agents to tune out the loudest screams in the room so they can detect the quietest, most lethal dangers hiding in the shadows. When Michael Kovco's threat hit the White House server, agents applied this behavioral framework. Digital forensics teams traced the data packets directly back to a specific IP address registered to an apartment in Chicago. 2 days later, Secret Service agents knocked on his door. They quickly determined they were dealing with a deeply paranoid, unemployed man who had recently stopped taking his psychiatric medication. Instead of backing down, Kovco escalated. After the agents left, he sent another barrage of messages, threatening to build improvised explosive devices and hunt down the exact investigators who had just visited his home. Evaluating his behavior against the data makes his profile obvious. His constant need for attention, his highly expressive language, and his extreme immediate reactions are the textbook markers of a howler. Statistically, howlers lack the discipline to successfully execute an assassination. However, their severe emotional instability makes them an unpredictable variable. The Secret Service doesn't leave those variables to chance. They arrested Kovco to eliminate the hazard. Neutralizing a threat like Kovco from a distance is the ideal outcome. It stands in sharp contrast to historical security failures, where massive, unpredictable crowds physically overwhelmed a perimeter, turning proximity into absolute chaos. We saw this during the 2007 attack on Pope Benedict XVI in Vatican City. An assailant bypassed the security bubble and lunged at the Pope, an impulsive, effective assault driven purely by a need for attention. The digital media ecosystem amplifies every movement a public figure makes, driving up the volume of pathological fixations tracked globally. To secure a former president or his college-bound son, agencies operate a continuous psychological intelligence network alongside their physical barricades and armored cars. By mastering the complex behavioral science of hunters and howlers, threat assessment professionals build an invisible fortress. They ensure that the most dangerous threats to our leaders are the ones the public never even hears about.